Good day, everyone. This is Dr. David Phelps of the Freedom Founders Mastermind community. And today it is my distinct pleasure and honor to be discussing, talking, conversing with a good friend of mine and a trusted advisor at Freedom Founders, Mr. Jay Malik. Jay, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much.
You know, it's a pleasure to have you not only here today, but also part of our group because you're known as a money coach. You specialize in helping dentists, particularly with strategic money issues, the pros and cons, the positives, the negatives, the tax liability issues, but also saving money, helping them with issues like, you know, when do you pay off debt? Should you convert a traditional IRA to a Roth? You know, how do you have that? You know, you're evaluating things for people. You're helping them set up strategies, not just reporting tax returns. And you're also a one-stop shop. In other words, you've got a total turnkey approach because you also handle the accounting and bookkeeping for your clients. And so I love that about you. And the other thing I'll say before we jump into this is I know that you are a constant student and a networker, and you go to a lot of events where you are also continuing to build your mindset about all things business, all things about your clients. So with that being said, Jay, let me ask you a few quick questions that'll kind of get us into the mode here today. You often say that dentists pay far too much in tax, more than they are legally required to pay. Why is that the case? Why does that happen?
Well, there are various reasons for that. And the one major thing is it appears that dentists do not use the accountants whose mindset is to create strategies to lower the tax burden legally and then implement it as the year goes by and then repeat it every year. Instead, the dentists I see most of the time, they use the mindset of the people who are employees, who are W-2 employees somewhere. That is, they wait till the end of the year to get their paperwork, take it to their accountant and say that, hey, you know, let's do the tax return. So that the result of that is that there is no tax planning. There is no implementation of those strategies, and that ends up in they paying more than they legally have to pay. And actually, the statistic is about 95%. 95% of dentists pay too much tax.
Yeah, how often do I hear from not only people that are part of our group, but you know, outside, is they really get the quote tax bill, not the accountant bill, the tax bill for the IRS from their accountant. You know, at the end of the year or for tax filing season, and it's a big surprise. It's a big shock, and oh my gosh, you know, where am I going to find that kind of money? You mentioned the fact that there's a mindset about maybe not the dentist, maybe not using the services and the tax planning ability of an accountant. Do you think sometimes it works the other way too? And sometimes maybe I'm just going to say this: a lot of accountants and CPAs, while they may know the tax filing code part of their business, maybe they're just not even in the mode to really do a lot of tax planning because, let's face it, Jay, that takes a little extra effort. You know, you're a coach, and so you do both. And I don't think a lot of businesses, CPAs, accountants are necessarily set up that way. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying it's just not part of their business culture. Do you think that's part of it?
Exactly. They don't put themselves out as somebody who proactively works to lower the tax burden. So it's not their fault. I mean, they basically, they say, okay, you come to me, bring your numbers to me. I'm going to make sure that you put the right numbers in the right boxes, on the right forms, and file them at the right time. And they do keep doing that. Okay? So the dentist who goes to them, unfortunately, he doesn't know, or she doesn't know that this is a different kind of services available where somebody actually proactively works to legally reduce the tax burden.
Right.
That is the operative part, by the way. If you don't do it legally, you end up living in a very big home. You know, I don't know if you want to do that.
Well, yeah, that's a whole another construct. I think we'll leave that for another session, another day. But good point. Well said, sir. All right. So 95%, in your experience, 95% are overpaying to some degree, right? What would you say is kind of like an idea of how much? Is there a range of how much you're seeing from a low to a high side in working with clients?
Oh yes, I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, at the minimum, you know, these days I see like 10 to 20,000. On the higher end, I have seen high six figures for dentists who have bigger practices, multi-doctor practices. They sometimes end up paying well into six figures, which they more money than they had to if they had planned and done it right.
Again, based on your experience, what's like the major reason? Is there one key piece of the code, or is it a lack of again planning that causes much of the overpayment that you see? What is there a major piece of that you see?
Yeah, there are various reasons. For the one I see very often is not practicing in the right entity, having the wrong entity structure.
Yeah.
Then the other is practicing in one entity, especially with the new tax reforms which were passed at the end of 2017. 2015 is last year, is the first year when they became effective. And in that, there is more opportunity to use multiple entities to save money on taxes.
Yeah, good. If a dentist wants to legally pay the minimum amount in taxes, what are some of the first steps that he or she should take?
Well, I mean, as you guys say in medicine, that the first step is diagnosis.
Right.
Correctly, right? So, and when the dentists, when they present a treatment plan to the patients, they see it all the time. They say, okay, the patient says, okay, I'm going to get a second opinion on that. Okay? And then they go talk to some other dentist, and then they compare the plans, and then they, decide to accept it or decide to get a third opinion. The patients do it all the time. Dentists should learn from their patients and do the same thing for their taxes. Get a second opinion on your tax return. Show it to somebody who is expert in these and say, hey, what do you think?
Exactly. No, well said. How does a dental practice that's really working at maximum tax efficiency, how do they look? How do they act?
Well, those ones which are working at I must also say, by the way, the dentists whose practices are at maximum tax efficiency, they are also the ones who have good grip over their overhead. They are working at a lower overhead, and they have less of other problems inside running the practice. And they also have their own personal financial life in order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that there is a causative relationship. Paying less tax may not cause all these good things to happen. It might be just a correlative, relationship where there's a relationship between people who pay less tax legally are on the top of their game as far as the taxes are concerned. They end up having all these other. So that's the gives. If I see a dentist I see a lot of dentists, I talk to them. If they have financial problems, I can pretty much tell you almost for certain that they also have tax problem. They're paying too much in tax.
Jay, that's what I see in you. If I could say, use even different words or languages, is you take a very holistic approach. And the reason I know that again is because again, you don't just stay in your world, in your office, and just do numbers. You get out in the field, and you're very interested in your clients beyond what you specialize in. And so you see the bigger picture. As you just said, you understand that from your expertise, from your eyes, when you see either a doctor who is doing things right, then there's other constructs that they're doing right. You see practices in other areas of their personal life, in their business. They have a culture, they have a pulse. You see those things, and then you're also able to look at somebody else and who is in a little bit of disarray, should I say, and also not just help them with their financial part, but you can guide them in some other areas of their life and practice that can also add those pillars, this foundation, so not everything starts to work together. Big difference in what you do, again, beyond your expertise. And I just wanted to make that clear, because that's how I do. Be able to differentiate what you do, because I think, again, I know that because I see you working with a lot of our members, and you bring this much broader approach to help them with all these areas, and then they end up paying less tax, they're more tax efficient, and their life's better, and they're keeping more of their hard-earned money.
Exactly.
So realistically, how much could a dentist particularly save in taxes with proper planning and the use of the appropriate legal tax strategies?
I mean, it depends on, again, from person to person. Generally, a practice which collects roughly about $1 million. These days, when I see their tax returns and analyze them, I see that they are overpaying from like $20,000 to $40,000, something in that range. Everybody's different, but it depends in that range.
Yeah, good, good. So you mentioned 2017 tax reform. It's the first major tax reform, really major tax reform act we've had in years. And every time that happens, again, it's like we go years without it, but it just kind of throws everything up in the air. It's like you take everything you knew and you throw it up in the air and it falls down, and now you got all these different pieces, and people are scrambling. You experts in tax and accounting, you're scrambling a bit. Certainly your clients are scrambling because, again, they're hearing all this stuff out in the news and on the Facebook forums, and nobody really knows what's going on for a while, right? The dust has to settle, and it takes a while for that to settle out. So if you could give us a few key areas now that the dust has settled, what are some key areas that dentists should be aware of as they are doing their tax planning right now?
For 2019, if somebody is looking at, the first thing they should do is go take your 2018 tax return. If yours is an extension, take your 2017 tax return, send it to somebody, show it to somebody who specializes in dentists and works in tax planning.
You're talking about like the second opinion.
Second opinion.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that they should do. And once they have done it, they will find weaknesses in there, and hopefully they will have ideas to implement in 2019, which will help them. That's the first step. The second is that in terms of investments is an important, as your focus is on real estate. Real estate is a very tax efficient way to invest. If I had extra money, which I have, and I do invest in real estate, and I was a dentist, I would seriously look at moving, I'm not saying completely everything, but some part of my investment portfolio into some kind of real estate investments. Okay? That will help, that's advantageous. And then that comes with a lot of other affiliated things on the tax side. Okay? So these are a couple of things that I would start with.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Jay, I really appreciate your time. In just a short period of time, you laid out a lot of really good constructs for people to be thinking about. And again, as you said, this needs to be something that the tax planning, the tax efficiency needs to be worked on a regular basis throughout the year, not waiting until the last quarter and then starting to scramble, because it's too late then. One thing, again, because you're very humble, but I know that you welcome the opportunity to be that second set of eyes, to do that second opinion for anybody who's interested. Again, you're not there to change who they're working with, but again, second opinion is always a good thing to do, because you may find some things that even if they want to go back to their current preparer and say, hey, would you look at this because someone else saw it? It's a good thing to do. So what's the best way for people to follow up and find you, contact you?
Well, they can reach my office, which the phone number is 305-563-6000.
Say it one more. Do one more time.
305-563-6000. My website is jaymalik.com, just as my name is spelled, JAYMALIK.com. They can do that, or they can send me an email at jay at my full name, jaymalik.com. And somebody from one of my assistants will respond, and they can start the conversation there. And there's a best way to meet me, actually, where many people meet and they're happy, we are relaxed and remote. That is to come to next Freedom Founders Mastermind. And not only I am there are a lot of very successful dentists there, and it's fun to be there, and everybody learns a lot, including about taxes.
We all learn a lot. It's the camaraderie that's the community. It's a lot of people coming together and sharing their life, their stories, and what they've learned. So, Jay, thank you so much. You're a gem, and somebody who is really serving with a great purpose and passion. And I know that's from your heart, because I've just gotten to know you so well. So we thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you very much.